This is the best AMES 85 class setup for Black Ops 6. For the optic, we're going to be running the Merlin Mini, but if you do want an optic that looks a little bit more like the Krig from Cold War, then you can run the AccuSpot Reflex. But again, I'm going to be running the Merlin Mini, but do whatever you want with that. For the muzzle, we're going to run the suppressor. For the barrel, we're going to run the long barrel. For the underbarrel, we're going to run the vertical foregrip. And then finally, for the rear grip, we're just going to run the quick draw grip. Now, if we take this into the range, this gun feels very, very, very similar to the Krig from Black Ops Cold War, especially if you do add that other sight I just showed you, because that sight really replicates the meta one that was used in Cold War. So if you were a big fan of the Krig, I would definitely recommend this gun. It has very controllable recoil and pretty solid damage. Let's go ahead and do a recoil test. So first, I'm not going to control it at all. And you can really see how low that is. It really didn't even go up hardly at all. And it got a lot of shots off before it even started to go up, it felt like. Now let's see how well I can actually control it. Okay, it bounced around a little bit on me there, but again, I don't really practice when I do these tests, so that's still really good. And honestly, whenever you have aim assist and you're actually shooting at people, it feels like a lot less than that even looks like. This is currently the best overall XM4 class setup. For the optic, this is more optional, but I'm going to recommend one of the cleanest sights is the AccuSpot Reflex. For the muzzle, you want the ported compensator. For the underbarrel, vertical foregrip. For the rear grip, commando grip. And then you want to come over here to fire mods and get rapid fire. Now let's go ahead and give it a test in the range. I can kill these bots pretty easily. The recoil, I will say, on this build is on the high side a little bit for a meta build, but your time to kill with that rapid fire is going to be much, much better. So if you're more of a run and gun style player, this is definitely a good gun for you. And finally, we'll do a recoil test. This is without controlling it whatsoever. You can tell it goes a little bit crazy. Now, if I aim right for the center and try to control it, it's still pretty controllable overall. This is currently one of the best AK-47 class setups you can have in Black Ops 6. So for the optic, I'm going to be running the AccuSpot Reflex, but this is pretty much personal preference of whatever optic you like. For the muzzle, we're going to run the suppressor. For the underbarrel, we're going to run the vertical foregrip. For the rear grip, you want to run the commando grip. And then finally, for the fire mod, we're going to run the recoil springs because this gun does have a little bit of kick. If we take this gun into the firing range, it feels quite good. The damage is definitely pretty high on the AK overall. The recoil, like I said, does go a little bit crazy, but with the recoil springs, you can control it pretty well at the closer and even medium ranges. At long range, you are going to have a little bit of trouble sometimes with the way it bounces around, but with the high damage, you can definitely get some kills pretty easily still, especially if you're on controller with some aim assist. Now let's give it a recoil test versus without controlling it whatsoever. And it's pretty modest, really not too bad for a slower fire rate weapon. Now we're going to actually try to control it and see how well I can do. And that's pretty good. That's actually one of the better ARs I've tested in terms of holding a tight spread. This is the best Model L class setup in Black Ops 6. For the optic, we're going to be running the AccuSpot Reflex. This is just personally my favorite, but run whatever you like. For the muzzle, we're going to run the compensator. For the underbarrel, we're going to run the vertical foregrip. For the rear grip, we're going to run commando grip. And then finally, for the fire mod, you want to run recoil springs. Now let's go ahead and shoot it in the range. Now this gun, I will say, I've been very pleasantly surprised at how smooth the recoil is and just consistent this gun feels. It feels very, very low recoil and easy to control, and also feels pretty fast. Time to kill feels pretty decent as well. So definitely an AR to give a try if you haven't already. Let's go ahead and take a look at the actual recoil. So first, I'm not going to control it at all. And wow, yeah, that really does not go up at all. This might be one of the lower recoil guns I've actually tested. Now let's go ahead and see how well I can actually control it. And yeah, that's probably top 3 in lowest recoil guns that I've tested so far. This is currently one of the best meta AS Vow loadouts in Black Ops 6. For the underbarrel, we're going to run the vertical foregrip. For the magazine, you do want to run the extended mag 2, and I'll show you why later. For the rear grip, we're going to run the assault grip. And then for the stock, we're going to run the balanced stock. And then finally for the fire mod, we're going to run recoil springs. Now, when I took this into the range, the very first thing I noticed is how low a recoil it has for the fast fire rate. This gun feels very, very smooth, and it's honestly one of the better feeling guns I've tested. And it really just has a considerable amount of low recoil for how fast this fire rate is. So I can imagine the time to kill is going to be pretty darn good on this build. It's also just incredibly fun to use because of how smooth it is. And I personally really like these iron sights. And as you can tell, even at this longer range, I can actually almost kill that far bot pretty easily. But the reason you want this extended mag too is because with that faster fire rate, you are going to burn through ammo quicker, especially if you're out there trying to get a lot of kills. Now let's go ahead and do the good old recoil test. First is without me controlling it at all. It looks like it goes crazy, but the fact that it has a fast fire rate makes it more controllable, I feel like. Because now I'm going to actually try to control it and we'll see what I can do. It honestly feels smoother than this test looks, I will say. For whatever reason that is, but let me try it one more time actually for science sake. Okay, yeah, it looks like it bounces around a lot, but for some reason, I guess just with the aim assist on the bots, it really feels like it just locks on, and maybe it's just a fast time to kill, I don't know, but I do really love this build. But thanks for watching, leave a like, comment, subscribe if you enjoyed, and I'll see you guys next time.